morning, or actually good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horse. I should get used to that. We'll be starting at noon pretty much every day. Sarah Bodwing, Andy Serling, and we are muddy and sealed, by the way. I just did a little research. Now, whether or not that could change in the course of the day remains to be seen. Anyway, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I learned to never send you a voice memo.
Yeah,
That's some good advice for the day.
My man Michael Kane down at Caymanas at Jamaica sent me a 26-minute voicemail. I love Michael. He's great, but I want to know if he actually thinks I would listen. Has anybody ever listened to a 26-minute voicemail?
Can't say that I personally have. I'm surprised he has 26 minutes of time
to devote to
of
me.
all the people that are working and busy and racing,
because
Ernie
he's
Munich,
doing
who
we work with, who has a habit of voicemails.
I can't say I've ever gotten a 26 minute from Ernie.
Even for Ernie could be
but a couple
stretching
minutes are entertaining.
Yeah, my brother likes to do it too. I think he does it because he knows it annoys me. Anyway, head over to Naira Bets. Use the promo code bonus200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Any track, anywhere, anytime. $2,500 hit and split, late pick 5, races 5 through 9 on today's 9-race card. Opt in for that over at Naira Bets. Cross country pick 5, 2 here, 3 at Oaklawn, include a ratings handicap, so that'll probably have a heavy favorite. I'm a little down on the ratings, but that's another story. Saturday, today, it's 1 to 6:30 on FS2. It's going to be 3 hours of Ray Handle. So for those of you that may want to get ready and take your first drink now, I totally understand. Anyway, race number 1, last man standing, appropriately. Apparently that's very appropriate to that. Ray, you are the last man standing. You know, I get it, but let me ask you a question.
Tell me.
Is one of the reasons this horse, who fails more often at short prices than he wins, is the idea this horse ran slightly worse last time? It was just a better field on a wet sealed track. He's going to get one again today, but probably not.
It's worth considering. I think that he has a similar enough Beyer speed figure to suggest that it's not too much of a concern for me. And he has a race where he finished 3rd a long time ago against a good field for the maiden special weight level over a sloppy sealed racetrack. So,
well, to be fair, at the time, I mean, I'm not overly concerned about this stuff, but to be fair, at that time, it was a regression in the Beyer figures in races he ran before it and after it.
Sure.
So I think it is a little, I mean, we're talking about a heavy favorite. That's the reason I'm bringing it up.
I think that he's overbet. That's evidenced by the short price that he's been in several of his last starts. That he is the one that takes money. He's got all the accoutrements to do so. Flavien Prat is riding. He's drawn towards the outside, and here he's taking that drop in class. I just thought that he was facing much better horses over his last couple of starts.
I agree. I would never bet him, but I agree with all of that. And the existential question is, are you necessarily overbet because you lose? Sometimes you're overbet when you win. Sometimes you're not overbet and you lose. It's an interesting question. You know what I mean? I mean, I think it's important to evaluate that. It's just, you know, it's the same concept of somebody who's an investor and he makes an investment and he ends up doing well with it, or he or she. Does that mean that they were right? If they do poorly with it, does it mean they were wrong? You know, did they misevaluate the risk? I mean, it's, you know, and I think it's, you know, it happens in racing sometimes. I mean, I think sometimes we're right for the wrong reasons. You know?
Absolutely.
I mean, and it's very hard to cash a bet. And it doesn't matter in the scheme of things, but I think it does, because I think you constantly have to be reevaluating your selections and why you're making picks, and were you wrong? Did you make a bet and it just didn't work out? And I think a lot of times, sometimes, I remember like one day, you know, sometimes you bet a horse and it's like it ends up being one of these they knew horses. And I think, did I just happen to fall into a they knew horse by accident, or was it really a clever pick? Anyway, speaking of clever or not picked, I was going to pick the horse you have second on top, Pangiotis, who I just thought, you know, it was a little bit interesting, gets a rider switch to Ricardo, comes out of a race that kind of fell apart a little bit. But I'm going to bet on Collect for Mike in this race. And Sarah was here. I called Dave Grenig, who was upstairs, who said the track is muddy and sealed. He's the one who told me. And, you know, it could get harrowed by the first, but I'm going to guess it's muddy and sealed. And we were talking about that. I don't believe that there are a lot of horses that are substantially better on wet tracks.
Except for.
I recommend people at home go into Formulator, look up the lifetime PPs of Collect from Ice. Like, there is a very strong argument to be made that this is a horse that improves dramatically. Look at his last race, second when he lost by a length last time in the Muddy Seal track, right? He ran a 48, a 30, a 65, and then a 52. You know, it's like he ran a lot better. He may not be able to run anymore. I don't love him, but I'm willing to lose a few dollars on this horse, believing that the wet track can wake him up. Look at his figures. Look at his races. He's got that 76 on the go back on the wet track. I mean, 75 back in August of 2024. This guy has run some shockingly big races. He's never won on a dry track. So
No.
I just want to throw a few dollars on him on the assumption that the track may work for him.
I don't blame you. And he's come into some of those bigger efforts on a track with some moisture in it off of races that are
were
honestly
bad.
similar to
Right.
his last couple of races. So it's not as though this was a horse that was showing he was in good form and then took that
That's
step
my point,
forward
exactly,
just
right.
by coincidence. So I hear you. I don't really think that he did much running last time out,
No,
but
he's
it
been
may
terrible.
not matter.
He's been terrible, no question about it. I mean, sometimes, listen, for the most part, you know, if you want to bet on long shots, you got to have some faith. And I think this is something that's going to come up over the next few weeks as horses start coming back off of the massive bias we had here, because you're going to have to bet some horses that lost by 30 lengths in their prior starts, because you're just going to have the faith that they were absolutely compromised by the bias. And, you know, listen, you don't bet horses that pay $25 to $50 by betting horses that are showing great form recently. It's just
They
you're
won't
going
be
to
paying that.
you're going to have to create something and hope it's there, you know. And listen, you don't want to go overboard with it, but there are horses that win at big prices. Race number 2. We'll take a look at Hard to Say down the rail, finishing second. I don't have a big problem with Hard to Say, who was against the track last time. And the only thing I'll say about Hard to Say is he is moving up a little bit in class in this race, and he's against some horses that are dropping a bit, but isn't he kind of the horse to beat?
Yeah, I mean, this performance is one that I agree completely. He was never with the bias that day. He was always off the rail. He was the one that was forwardly placed after making an early move to get into position. And he never had things more beneficial to him with where he was positioned on the racetrack. I feel as though this is a tougher field, though, with some of those drop downs in class, and I sort of want to see how he stacks up against some horses who perhaps were against the racetrack last time or have just been facing better.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the horse to beat. I'm not against him. You've got him third, but I have him second. Talk about, we both like Rule 62. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that he was one that he was really a horse that had taken that significant drop in class last time, but it was a 4-horse field. I thought that the winner of that race had everything his own way. New York Scrappy came back to really regress the other day on Thursday. And if you look at before his
phony.
last race, He's 77-1 finishing 11th behind Life and Times. He's 55-1 finishing 8th behind BU. He's just been in a world of better quality company than these horses.
But one thing I'll say about him, and I don't love this horse by any stretch of the imagination. I don't love any horses these days. He may not love a wet track. I think
Yeah,
it is,
I think-
his last race is aberrantly bad. You can say he was
Sure.
chasing New York Scrappy. It was aberrantly bad.
It
so
was.
it does worry me a little. I'll put it this way. Wouldn't you be happier picking him on a fast track?
Probably. However, at the same time, I feel as though he was one that when you have those smaller fields, I don't want to hold it against him too much. And I thought that the winner was just very fortunate in there.
I wanted to like Red Miller more than I do. I don't like this horse. I thought he was terrible last time.
Yeah, I think that he's a little bit quirky. He was breaking from an outside post and broke out. I don't know that hitting the gate had anything to do with it, but
Well, he hit the gate because he broke out.
well, yeah, I don't think that it was going to be something that
Did he
mitigated
get
his
a great
chances.
trip after that? I mean, he just glued him to the rail, and he had just like no run at all.
Yeah, I will say the winner of that race did come back to win with an 81 Beyer speed figure. It was a very tough starter, a group of allowances after breaking his maiden. I don't know where he really
Did
stands
he
in
ride a
terms
gold
of
rail
class.
when he read that figure the next time?
Possibly.
Yeah. Do you remember what day it is?
What day that race was?
Yeah.
It was on September 12th.
No, Spirit Dragon.
Oh, Spirit Dragon. I can look at his
Yeah,
last race, which was...
Sorry, I thought he might have benefited from a bias. That's
It
the only-
was the 5th of February, so highly
Yeah,
likely.
he wrote a big bias in
Yeah.
his next win.
Yeah, but
He can
Ranger
he
Battalion,
can win
dream-like,
this horse.
they're
I
better.
agree. I didn't like his last race. That's what bothered me about him. All right, we'll see what happens in race 2. Favorite will probably win. Race number 3. For lack of anything else, we'll show a replay of the horse you and I both picked second, the morning line favorite, Frisante. You know, Frisante wasn't way against the track, but he was a little bit off the rail, and he lost, and this is his race 2 back when he won. But last time out, he wasn't way against the track. You know, he was too wide, but the winner did wire inside, you know, and had all the best of it. And I don't know. I know Steve Scheuer has done some good work. You have this feeling that his numbers are better off the claim than they are. They're not that great.
I think that we've sort of picked up on that notion or that trend and kept it going longer than it's been actually factually relevant.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So I think that
true.
Frizzante is just one that he's not really that winning type. He's been in great form. He's been very popular in the claim box, and he has been one that's shown up in various different barns with a decent effort and consistency. He just doesn't
11
really
seconds
win
and 3
that
wins.
much. So as the favorite, I didn't want to take him on top in here, even though the switch in Barnes doesn't really concern me. He's run well for multiple outfits.
Yeah, no, it doesn't concern me either. I originally thought maybe it was like a big upgrade.
It's not.
And I just looking, and it's not a criticism anyway of Steve, who's done well with the horses.
Yep.
And I'm just saying it hasn't proven to be, like you said, I think that we had an impression from a few starters, and it lingers in your mind, and you don't really look the numbers up. And I think good point. Why don't you talk about Market Maven?
Yeah, this horse was favored last time out in that common race that Frizzante was in on the 11th. He did draw the rail that day, but I thought that he was taken right off of the inside when he was in behind aggregation. So I felt as though he gave away some of that potential advantage. Now, he was never wide, but he was one that was always slightly off the rail.
Wider than the third horse.
Than the winner, more so than the third place finisher hours in a day. And before that, I thought that on the 28th of December, he was the one that was up close to the pace that fell apart with the first two finishers coming from very far back in that race. Lots of trouble, shipsational. That pace was contested and really fell apart in the late stages. I know he was perhaps maybe more with the racetrack than not last time out, but he was never really right on the rail. So I felt as though he had a bit of an excuse for not really doing as much running.
I think it's all perfectly fair. I'll tell you what my problem with him is.
Tell me.
He's moving out of 2 extremely high percentage barns. And at this point, you have to put the Chad Summers barn in that category of horses that are moving up dramatically when moved to his barn. And look at his races before Ness had him and Chad had him. They are a lot worse than his ones with them. That's what worried me about him. And he's a short price. I don't disagree with anything you said. I think it's all way more than valid.
I think the
I
race
just worry about that.
The race for Chad Summers does stand out as being one of his better efforts, and I think tactically, in terms of the dynamics of that race, it's even better than the Beyer speed figure may suggest in terms of an effort. But if you go to a start, going back to Parks in November, it's still a number that's fairly competitive with some
Jamie
of his
Ness
other
had
races.
him in that race.
Right, but you have to go back quite some time before he was with one of those barns.
No, you don't. You go. He's got 3 starts: 2 for Ness and 1 for Chad Summers.
Then you have
I'm not saying this
stake.
means he's not going to win. And to be fair, Ilkay's running him back on the previous trainer's training, whatever.
This is
it
a short rest, yes.
It's 10 days, but that's just the only. That was my knock on him. I don't disagree with a single thing you said. I think it's all extremely valid. I just worry about that a little bit as far as commuted. Commuted may just be a give-up drop-down, and it does seem like a lot. You know, you'll see these Flying P drop-downs, and they run like crap. And maybe he's one that's dropping. Now, he's not dropping off a cliff, though. You know, he did run for a 15 onwards a 2 lifetime. Where exactly is he supposed to run the horse? I mean, the truth is, they just got way above themselves in his races. I mean, the tracking error race, he ran fine in there. That race would win here. Even his race 2 back behind Life and Times can win here. Now, his last race obviously wasn't very good. That race did fall apart a little bit. So I'm going to give him another chance on the drop down, and I don't think he's going to be a super short price. I just feel like he's running against much weaker horses than he's been facing.
I agree with that completely.
You know, I just think they got way over their heads with him, and now they're finally running him in a realistic spot.
Yeah, I just worry if he doesn't get the lead, is he as effective? But it might not matter.
Why shouldn't he get the lead here?
Sagamore Mischief usually tries to go. Market Maven can be forward.
He's not. American Maven, I don't think is as fast as he is, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, race number 4. Mr. Ripple off the claim for a trainer who has good numbers off the claim. Did run second last time. It's an odd race last time. It's one of those running lines that makes you think he ran a different race than he ran, right? Because it looks like he just couldn't get the leader. Now, this was a big bias. He chased outside. He was against the track. and the leader completely fell apart. I actually upgrade his performance in a certain way because he was chasing a pace that fell apart and doing it on the outside. Now, he was near the rail and on the rail for quite a bit of the running of the race. Having said that, I don't know what to do with this guy who was
either.
a total Miguel dump job.
Complete give up. And then when he did come back off the layoff, yes, he had that stumble at the start, but he did no running at all, and he was a shorter price that day. And even though he did run okay last time and against the bias, like you said, that was for 10,000. Now he moves barns. Now he's going to get the mile in an 8.
I don't mind. I like the barn change. This guy wins.
I have no problems with the barn change. It's more just that if someone like Miguel Clement completely gave up on a horse who had been competing at a higher level, I do factor it in.
Having said that, sometimes it's the barns like that that you want to claim from.
Potentially, yeah.
Because they're taking good care of their horses, and
Sure.
I don't think that Miguel is spending a lot of time
With
thinking
$10,000
about
claiming horses.
Mr. Ripple. So sometimes these are the barns that you can get good claims from because their horses are well taken care of and they don't care. Whiskey and Soda, who we both have second here last time out, I have no knock on this horse. I thought he got a pretty good trip last time out.
Yeah.
He spent, he's a little bit off the rail, but, he had a pretty good trip. And the horse that we beat just doesn't want to go the distance.
No, I don't think so. And looking at the horses that he faced 2 starts prior to that, they're just better. I think that he's at a realistic level. And when he's been put at that level where he can be competitive, he's shown up, starts 3 back
Tougher
and
field,
last
though,
time.
right?
But I also felt the same way that this was going to be a tougher field than what he faced last time, as well as even if you go back to what he faced coming back off the layoff in November.
Okay. What were you smoking when you picked Hey Toby? You can tell us. We're all friends.
I wish
here.
it was better, but isn't he one that's just faced better horses overall through his career, except for when they've actually dropped
when
him
he
in for a
hasn't?
tag?
I hate this horse. I have a personal dislike of this horse.
Okay.
I think that he has been in some advantageous circumstances
upset.
and not won. I just think I just don't like this horse. And
Okay.
what kind of trip do you imagine from him? Because he's not getting the lead.
No, I don't think he's getting the lead either. I imagine a stalking outside kind of trip, kind of like the one that he was in the process of working out when he was coming off the layoff on December 28th, going this distance where checked impeded is a little bit dramatic, but his running lane was shut off by sort of this domino effect of horses where Concord Spirit was coming in from the outside.
I know.
And then he didn't really have anywhere to go.
But was he going anywhere?
That's a good question.
Right.
And I think it's a fair one to ask. But I will say it was very clear that he did not have anywhere to go following that move of those horses coming in.
He's a big price. I wish you the best of luck.
He's not that big a
I
price.
do not like this horse, and he's on my personal list.
Okay.
I'm going to hope Confabulation wires the field. Simple as that. Last time out, he got caught chasing against the bias last time. He had no chance the way that race was running there. I know the time before that, had things his own way. I don't love horses claimed away from Michelle Nevin. But this horse has got pretty consistent, good enough figs. He's not going to be a short price, and he's the controlling speed. Do I love him? No, but I don't like a lot of horses in this race. Mr. Ripple at 8-1 is very usable to me. Whiskey and Soda is just okay. He's meeting tougher horses off a perfect trip win. And Bob John Ray has sort of turned his life around.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to stalk and be effective in this race.
And that was
maybe
my
he's not
concern
as
with
good.
him
Right.
as well.
So I'm going to try to wire the field. You're going to have to. You can either come along with me or think I'm nuts, and I probably am. Race number 5.
Say that about every race.
First of all, you have to just absolutely love the idea that Tariff Mindset happens to be debuting today. That is funny. And it's even funnier when you look at the dam's name, West Palm Beach. You got to get that out there because, this is just, it's random that the horse is debuting today, but all the things going on in the world, it's kind of amusing. Let's take a look at the horse that I have third and you have on top, Dr. Sinatra, who I bet last time. And I thought he ran well. I feel like Andy lowered the fig on this race.
Okay.
I thought this number was higher originally.
I don't know
I thought
to
it was. I'm not. I thought he ran really well here, Sarah. I'm just not sure how good this race was.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he got bet quite a bit in this race, making his second start. It's not really a move up. It's a similar number to the one that he ran first time out over a muddy sealed racetrack where he was more inside, ended up finishing third that
He's
day.
run well in both his races, Sarah.
I just thought he got passed by a horse that looks to be pretty good.
I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think
No.
I passed my horse got an absolutely perfect trip to beat him. Is it a little sour grapes because I bet him? Yeah, but he did. I mean,
Yeah.
they were moving a little bit up front, and
Yeah,
that
he
horse
put away
had
the
a
other
pocket
speed.
trip and angled out. I mean, he got a great ride and a great trip to win it. I'm not. That's my problem, though. You like right to party more than I do.
Okay.
Maybe you're right. I'm not. I'm on the fence with this horse, and I also don't like coming back and betting horses back. As far as Tariff Mindset, Chad had mentioned to me a long time ago, like a Saratoga, that he liked the Tiz the Law that he had for Klarovich, and I just remembered it. It's not that I'd written it down or anything, and then when this horse was entered, I texted him and said, "Is this the Tiz Law you liked?" He said, "Yes." Now, I didn't say, "Do you like the horse a lot? Do you think the horse is going to win?" But the horse is training in Florida, and he ships the horse to run here. He doesn't want to run at Gulfstream. I don't blame him. So I have to think there's some good things about this horse. The Flavien Prat thing, I think one of the reasons that horse that won the first race was that insane price was because Flavien wasn't riding. Well, I didn't know the story, and I didn't know a thing about that horse before the race, or I would have said so. But I think he didn't ride him because the race was originally supposed to go over the weekend and it didn't go, and Flavien was out of town, so he had given the call to him. So I had thought maybe it was because Flavien was riding the two horse who's owned by somebody that Chad's friendly with. So why would he make Flavien get off? Anyway, I know that he kind of likes his horse. How much he likes, I don't know.
We'll see.
What do you think about you don't like the 5 Streamin' at all, huh?
I just feel like this is one of those horses that's by Tapit, who's running in some spots where it looks like he's done some running, but how good is this horse really? And I felt as though the gate issues are getting a bit tiresome, where this horse has had some difficulty getting out of the starting gate. And even though the numbers sort of stack up, if either of the Chad Brown firsters can run, if we see anything from the horse that I picked, if you have Double Act show up and improve with the blinkers on.
Why can't Double Act win this race?
He can. I just thought this might be a live group of other horses.
I agree. I think the one's very dangerous. Your points are valid with Stream It. I mean, the getting left is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he did break 3 lengths slow last time, and he was making a wide move the whole way. And it wasn't a bad thing to be inside. And the winner wired the field on the inside. And I agree. I think Cording is, Cording, because of his purchase price, but also that purchase price, the $5 million, he's destined to cost a lot of people that are foolish a lot of money because he's just not very good. And I'm sorry he is, and it is what it is. But let's face it, he has not improved as a 3-year-old, and he was slow as a 2-year-old. So yes, but on the other hand, he is running figures that are comparable to these. He's getting Lasix for the first time, and Lynn has had some time to work on him, get out of the gate, and he's 8-1 morning line.
Yeah, if he can break, sure.
If he breaks,
I just want to see it first.
That's fair, but he's 8-1.
Yeah.
So at 8-1, I don't mind seeing it. So I am going to use him in here. I think any of the 1, 2, 3, and 5 can win this race. I mean, I don't want the others, but Print didn't run badly. I just prefer others.
Yeah, I think this is a better group, but I'm with you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back with the late pick 4.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Welcome back to Talking Horse. Just realized we're having so much fun that we're running out of time. So let's get things moving. A little easier in the 6. Now that they scratched down half the field, we'll look at Cool Andy. I actually thought about flip-flopping my picks when...
I kind of wondered if you would go with Cool Andy with the Obanana Boy coming out.
Well, he potentially has the speed.
Yeah.
With the scratches in here. And, he was pretty much with the track last time, but he's in good form, and he could certainly win this race. I mean, Linda's got a pretty strong hand here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that completely. I think that she is likely to hit the exacta with this one, and he does look to be the one that's in the good recent form, can be forward. I think that the scratch towards his inside helps him, though I don't know how much help he necessarily needed because I don't think he absolutely needs the lead to be effective. I just sort of wanted to see things potentially turn around with Sacrosanct, as I'm sure you did, a horse who had shown so much ability early.
Well, I don't even worry about it turning around. I mean, I actually don't think he ran that badly last time. He's chasing 4 wide against a good rail on a horse that wired the field, and he still ran a 74 Beyer.
Yeah.
To me, that performance was somewhere in the 80s, and he's a horse that started out looking like a good horse. He's not going to be compromised by the pace because, man, he's just going to be sitting second in this race.
Exactly.
I just feel like he may just be the best horse in the race.
Yeah, I mean, to show that kind of ability that he did early on and then to come back with a race that, as you mentioned, against a bias where it's still comparable, there's nothing to suggest that he can't get back to some of that earlier form.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, that's interesting. I was looking up Remarkably
Yeah.
Numbers on horses claimed from Bill Mott are extremely good.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I'm not that shocked for a couple of reasons. One is, I think obviously that Bill or Leanna or anybody, they're taking good care of the horses. But I also think that the lesser horses, they may not,
not
they're
the
not their necessary, their focus. So I don't think it's that surprising. It's not a knock on Bill or any of them
Oh,
at
of course
all. I
not.
just think it's probably a compliment. Funny Uncle's in good form, but what's he going to do in this field with no pace?
Yeah, that was my problem with him, but I didn't want to completely discount him because he is running very well his last couple of starts.
Agreed. We'll move on. Irish Maxima. Yeah, I am going to go, and we'll show the replay of this horse winning the distaff here. I don't know that she's quite as good as some of her races make her look. But this is another example of bad handling of a horse because they're dreaming of millions at Kentucky Downs. Okay, I understand. They didn't know Ways and Means was going to keep getting sick, blah, blah, blah. It was a very weak division last year. They had a horse that was competing at the highest levels of division, running figures that were comparable to the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. I'm not saying she would have won it, but certainly
would have
good
been a
enough to
main
be
player.
competitive in races like the Gallant Bloom. They got excited because there's a $2 million race at Kentucky Downs. And yeah, I think Kentucky Downs, it's like a drug. People see those purses and they just get delirious. So, okay, they shipped down to Ellis. I'm not sure why they didn't want to run in Saratoga. There's certainly turf sprints. She could have run it up there. And they took a shot and see, is she a turf sprinter? Can we run her in that race? I don't have any problem with that. She's not. It was fairly evident from the performance in that race. She's not a turf horse. Yet, they ran a race at 83-1 because they were determined to do it for $2 million with a horse that was showing herself to potentially be one of the biggest players in the division. What am I missing?
I will say the turf race that she ran at Ellis wasn't enough to tell me that she couldn't run on the turf. But if that
It was 83-1.
But at the same time, well, the first one. Now, with the kind of dirt form that this horse had shown prior to that, it's not exactly this was a turf give up move, and she showed a little bit of life switching
She
surfaces.
ran all in that race at Ellis. She was awful.
She ran well enough that if she wasn't running well on dirt, I would have said, okay, I get
But
it.
she was.
But she was, and
Right.
so that's what's so
I understand
frustrating.
if she's a bad horse and you want to, take a shot to run fourth for $2 million. I get it, but boy, they passed up some opportunities.
And
I
she
don't-
has
Go ahead.
early speed, which I'm sorry, in a lot of these sprint races for the fillies and mares, that's what wins.
The lure of the money at Kentucky Downs led them to make decisions which did not work out. And you wonder, she's been off since that race. We've seen a lot of horses go to Kentucky Downs and be off after those races. So it's not the first one. I hope she comes back. I like her.
Yeah,
I don't
she's
know
good.
just how good she is, but she's pretty darn good. So is Sweet Brown Sugar.
Yeah.
I like her. She's a neat
She likes
horse.
to
Now,
win.
the problem with her, and we'll show her last race, is that race was a bit aberrationally high, but she was second to Sterling Silver. And you know what? What if the track is still wet? Maybe she's a horse that
She can
really
handle
moved
it,
up
no
in a wet
problem.
track. Her best races are on wet tracks.
Yeah. If you go to her start three back last year, February on the 6th, muddy sealed surface, an 85 buyer winning.
Look
that
at the
she-
improvement when she won her the March 3rd race at 24.
Yeah, and even if she doesn't have that move up on a wet track or whatever condition we may be dealing with, by the time we get to the 7th race, she is logically the other horse anyway, right?
Yes. I think, though, a wet track would move her up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm going to use Reliable Lady a little bit just because it's an interesting claim by Sandy Goldfarb, but she was awful last time.
I don't trust Reliable Lady, which,
Yeah. I just,
yeah.
more
but I
like
hear
a
you,
price I want to
connections.
use off the clip.
Yep. I don't blame you.
All right. Race number 8. I got nothing clever to say here.
Me either. This
Yeah.
was a Linda Rice as
Right.
exacta for me.
Yeah, we'll look at Munnings Express, 2 races back. I think this is 2. Is this 2 back?
The 31st?
Yes. No, this is last time. Finishing second with Atentious finishing third. Bam's Bliss Kiss is in raging
Amazing
form. She's
form.
getting loose. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
She's won 3 straight.
Yeah.
I thought she ran fine. I just, once again, I just thought she was the best horse in the race.
Yeah, I think that she can sort of make her own trip in here. I thought she ran well last time. I know that there was that one day when Intentious finished ahead of Nina Kay, but I think that was a race where Nina Kay had shown that she wasn't necessarily quite the winning type. But at the same time, Munnings Express and Nina Kay looked like the 2 best horses in the field to me, and maybe a little bit of interest in Solo Shot, but she's hard to judge what
She did
sort of
run well on a
performance she's
wet
gonna show
track.
up. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, her one race that makes her a contender in here was on a wet track. I don't
was.
want to make too much of it, but she's going to be a price in here. Yeah, I agree. I just, you want to try to find. We could be wrong. The three doesn't have
sure.
to win this race, but I don't want to just be stabbing with horses, and I'm not going to try to beat this horse. I just have
I'm
nothing
with you.
clever to say about this race at all. The last race, we'll take a look at Cat Fast, 2-back, October 24th, finishing second. I know this horse is probably going to win, and the other horse, I picked the other horse on top, Gray Ace, for my man Mitch Friedman. But I don't know about this horse. I felt like this horse could be a super, super short price. She's got no speed, and he's just, I don't know. There's something about this horse. I don't know. I don't want this horse as a heavy favorite.
I don't blame you. And these are the types of horses that I look at and I think, okay, he was dropped in after he was first claimed, then moved up just a little bit, but still not to the level he was claimed at. But then they put him in for 50, so he must have been showing something, and then that was that weird short field. And then it's like, well, now he comes in here for 12.5. I don't love to look at this as a move of confidence, but usually when Linda Rice drops these horses to a lower level, it's with purpose, with intention, and they're spotted appropriately.
Except she ran for 16 off the claim at Ellis, and the horse was basically eased with avoided claim. So
things have changed.
Yeah, so it's not like the horse hasn't run at a bottom level. He's the horse to beat. I'm not. But he also, the thing I also don't like, he doesn't have any speed, this guy.
No,
now,
he doesn't.
The problem is, oh my God. I mean,
where else are you going to go?
It's very, very hard to make cases for anybody in this race. But I thought the Gray Ace actually ran pretty well. Gypsy Dreaming came out of that race to improve the buyer figure, albeit probably getting a good trip and doing it. But the fifth place finisher improved 11 points. The third place finisher improved 15 points. There's every chance that that race was actually pretty good. Now, I'm not confident and hope it isn't a muddy seal track for the last race, but I still think there'll be some moisture in the track.
This horse can
which
also
can't
be
hurt.
more forward than the two. So I think that that's a completely valid point, because where else do you go in here with who you think is going to show up? It's a long way back to the most logical horse after those two on paper.
And
least.
Linda, Mitch, they're going to go to Linda.
Yeah.
And listen, she wins a lot of races. I get it. But I don't know. I got a bad feeling about the two.
I don't
feel like this is one of the worst horses in her barn.
I wish I liked the three a little bit more. Solo Flight, who's coming in,
Got that
who has
one
just
figure
been,
back at Finger Lakes, but
yeah, it's
numbers in New
tough
York are
to
not
make
good.
the case for this one, but.
No, I don't think he's totally impossible. I've got him fourth, you've got him third. I agree. He's somewhere as one of
He's somewhere in the
fringe
superfecta,
players.
sure.
I agree. And listen, don't be, if I'm right and the two's just not very good.
Well, then this race is completely open
Anything
outside
could
of
happen
the
here. It's not like the 8. I mean, the 8 has had a lot of chances, and I'm sort of banking on the last race. Well, but this horse also has go-back races that are fast enough.
Yeah.
He's actually got
He's
more
pretty
go-back
consistent
fast
versus this
races than the 2 does.
Yeah, no, that's a
And
completely
I'm
valid
not
point.
sure they're not supposed to be much closer in odds than they're going to be.
Fair
See what
enough.
happens. All right, it's been fun. We're done. Chris Griffin's getting ready. You are just getting ready to go to Naira Bets. Bonus 200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have a $2,500 hit and split on the late pick 5, which I am going to show you how easy it is to opt in. I'm going to actually do it right now.
If he can do it, you can do
I
it.
just logged into my account and opted in while I said that. Late pick 5. Check it out. We got a cross-country pick 5. Eddie's feverishly writing down. He loves the rating races. You love those ratings races, Eddie. Love them. You were instrumental, I think, in making them. Yeah, you did a fine job. And last but not least, 1 to 6:30, a virtual smorgasbord of action. All our races and probably just about all the Oaklawn, if not all the Oaklawn races, and some really exciting stuff. I don't want to give it away.
Don't give it
You're going to
away.
have to watch to find out. There's some really riveting stuff coming up. We're done. It was fun. Thank you, Chris. Good luck today. See ya.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now.